What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 333. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I am joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale.
Hanukkah.
Brett Murdoch.
What's up, people?
And Brian Manjoma.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, we got everybody in the house tonight, people. Full deck. And you know it's going to get crazy because this week was kind of nutty. I'm like, yo, where's all this news coming from? You know? I was compiling shit today. I'm like, yo. And half of the news we're going to talk about came from one source. The fucking Epic versus Apple battle. Like, all the spots got blown, you know? I don't even think we have to, like, do any preamble. I think we just get right into it because shit is crazy right now, man. So, yeah, let's get into it, man. Oh, no, I said Chiron in the wrong place. There we go. Got to hook Carlos up. I got you, Carlos, man. I got you. Even though you're not going to do this I do a video for this one anyway, you know?
Yeah, main topics, you know, they're main topics.
Yeah, you already know, man. All right, so we got to talk about the Apple and Epic trial, which I believe started this week or, you know, sometime early or late last week.
Started this week.
Started this week, right? And a lot of things came to light outside of the main deal, right? So we're going to go through some of them. And if I missed any, you know, you guys in the chat will let me know. You guys in here will let me know because a lot of things came out, right? But one of them was the reason why PlayStation was against Crossplay. If you guys remember that whole debacle from a couple of years ago when, you know, it was over Fortnite and people were wondering why the hell isn't Sony doing Crossplay? And at the time, Sony said that it was because they were trying to protect their customers or some shit like that. And
the same reason why Nintendo says that they don't like voice chat.
Yeah,
protecting our customers and our players.
So it turns out that, you know, that was part of it, but it was really about money. they wanted a cut, you know, and it also turns out that PlayStation is like the only one that Epic has to pay for crossplay, which is very interesting, you know. So, Chris, I'm going to have you jump in here, give us the business side of all this, because that seems, at the one time, it seems kind of weird, but also at the same time, it also makes sense, you know.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me now why. Remember, Epic accidentally turned on crossplay back then?
Yeah, that's right.
That Fortnite was working, and then they quickly turned it off, and Sony had come out with a statement just after that. I think Epic was trying to pressure them back then. Now with this disclosure, and I love it because in legal proceedings you can't lie about this shit.
Yep.
They can't spin this. It's just out in the open. They were trying to pressure them to enable crossplay so that that Sony would be forced to do it, and then they wouldn't have to have their crazy fees. Like Sony wanted them to get paid if you had a Sony Fortnite account, but you did a microtransaction on another system, which is like fucking crazy to me.
Wow.
It's like who cares? Like if you're playing on multiple systems, right? You have the same account, and then they still want a cut of the money, even though you bought something through a different store. Like if you bought it on PC or bought it on Apple or whatever, they wanted a cut. It's like, what? This fucking doesn't make any sense. I don't know. The business argument that Sony made was just stupid. They just wanted to keep things exclusive so they could get their cut of microtransactions. That's why they did it. When they said it wasn't good for the PlayStation business, right? That just means that they don't want people spending their money outside of the ecosystem. That's what that means. And when they say it's not good for their customers, that's obviously a load of garbage.
It's not good for them, you know.
It's not good for them. Yeah. They tried to hide behind us. We want to keep our customers safe or whatever. Bitch, you don't have a platform that's safer than Microsoft's or anyone else's. So let's be real about that. You got hacked like everyone else. So, you know, relax, chill out on that. That's why I don't, I had pulled my credit card from PSN when that whole Lizard Squad thing happened. The fucking PlayStation was down all through Christmas. So I forgot, was Christmas 2018 or 2017?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing was down. So it's like, spare me our customers we felt they were unsafe. That's a load of garbage. It's that it's always they're looking out for residual income, and they knew how big Fortnite was and how big it was projected to be. I mean, I'm sure Epic made that presentation to everybody, to Microsoft, to Nintendo, to Apple and Google and everyone. They knew, and they didn't want it on there because they didn't want their customers playing on other platforms and possibly losing their playtime on PlayStation from people moving to another platform, going, hey, I might as well play other stuff on here, and I'll spend my money on on Steam or whatever instead of here. They didn't want that.
Yeah.
So that's all that means.
Yeah, and I'm reading, the documents, and again, this is all out in the public now. That basically what happened is like Epic wasn't really able to get its way because Fortnite became the biggest game on PlayStation, so PlayStation kind of had to say, in what would happen. But apparently, Epic was also trying to spin things on their end to make it so Sony didn't look like the bad guy, which is really crazy.
Well, it's because that's their biggest thing. If they're slinging trash at these guys who have the biggest platform,
yeah, exactly. Like if they're big, the people who are playing Fortnite the most are on PlayStation, they don't want to throw shit at those guys, So it kind of makes sense. It's just really fascinating stuff to see all this stuff that, because we're not supposed to be seeing any of this stuff, obviously, as customers or even journalists. This is not really for our eyes, so it's kind of fascinating just to see all this come out in the open, What about the rest of you guys? What do you say?
I mean, who the hell is surprised at this? No. I mean, Sony's been touting the whole high horse thing, like, well, no pun intended. The whole, like we're looking out for our customers. That's why I always say they're always full of shit. Whenever a company tries to put on looking like the nice guy, they don't care about you or anybody. All they care about is the bottom dollar, man. And that's that's what they're trying to make bank out of that crossplay. While everyone was playing, the same rules, Sony was like, hey, how the hell can we squeeze every last penny off of this? We know that we have some leverage because our platform is the one that, most people play one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game right now in the world. And no one's surprised. I mean, if you're surprised, then you're deep in the Kool-Aid, man.
Oh yeah, Kool-Aid man.
All right, what about the rest of you guys? What do you say? No thoughts? Manny, go ahead.
I think the same thing as Carlos. It's just that you really should be putting stock in a company in general. Yeah, they do the things that you want, right? They make games and you enjoy those games, but that doesn't mean that they ain't looking for some money. And this goes for any of the other companies. But granted, in this situation, Microsoft and Nintendo aren't the ones that are aren't charging an additional fee on top of what they're getting their half, right? But if the situation was reversed in any other way, that they'd be trying to do the same goddamn thing.
Of course, but it is just funny. It's like, a company's being greedy. It's like, yeah, that's kind of what they do.
That's kind of what they do.
That's kind of what they do.
I mean, I don't. I believe. Here's the thing. I believe that yes, there are definitely good people that work at companies, right? But there are also just the assholes that are just sort of looking to get some bank.
Yeah.
Well, the good people working at the company are usually not at the executive level.
No, they're not. They're usually just the grunt. They're probably some of the forward-facing management. But all the
Jenny over in animation.
Was that
Jenny in animation?
Jenny,
make some biscuits and I can do this.
Yeah, all the nice folks are all somewhere else. But
you
hear that.
Yeah, I gotta read our quote from our boy Gio Corsi. We love Gio on Throwdown. So this is what he has to say. Goes, and I'm reading this from The Verge. Gio Corsi, Sony's senior director of developer relations at the time, dismissed the idea of crossplay, noting that crossplay. This is what he says, and I quote: Cross-platform play is not a slam dunk no matter the size of the title. As you know, many companies are exploring this idea and not a single one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business.
And he says it right there, business.
Yeah, exactly. And at the time, it was like, what do we get out of this? You know?
Oh yeah, but this is exactly what I said before, right? When I say that they say it's not good for business. I mean, Corsi. I mean, I like the guy, but that's a short-sighted perspective, right? He doesn't see that. Hey, if you really believe in your ecosystem that you are stronger than the other guy, you would have no problem having crossplay there and having people experience the game in other places or whatever. That you are the stronger platform to play on, right? So that tells me you're not confident in your platform versus another one.
Brett, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I kind of want to mark the moment where we mentioned that he said that for all of the people who are going to inevitably yell about Bethesda when it becomes exclusive. I'm going to carry this to my grave.
Okay.
Wait, what happened?
I don't understand this.
I'm insisting that Bethesda is going to be exclusive, and the main issue that everybody brings up is like, well, you know, it's just a bad business model if they're not exclusive. Like, I just want to point out here that we have definitively agreed it's not good for business. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's right. You know, and then there's this other document from 2019 where Sony actually details how much money they've earned off of cross-platform revenue. Kind of interesting. Chris, are you seeing that one? If you click on because I have the Epic article there, but if you click on there's a link in there from The Verge. It's literally the first link in the first paragraph. Click on that, scroll down, and then this is after Gio Corsi's statement, and Sony shows how much money they've earned off of cross-platform play. It says $52,500 for 1 month.
I see it month 2, yeah. 52,000.
I mean, you know the numbers better than me, so you know you could tell us. Well, I'll take a sip of my wines.
Mm-hmm. You mean you drinking wine?
Yeah, man. I told this story right before. It was like I got like 6 bottles of wine and shit for $40.
Well, look, I mean, you know, look at that. I mean, versus the first month when they weren't doing it, where it's $0. That's a net gain.
Yeah. So basically, the article's trying to prove is like, yeah, Sony's stance was not correct because the next year when they did have crossplay, they actually did make money.
Yeah, it's a net gain. You any positive gain. I mean, okay, it's 52,000. It's not like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's better than zero.
Literally zero. Literally zero. You know. Yeah. So you know, the article's just showing that's like no cross-platform play actually does make you money, but Sony wasn't thinking about or seeing that. I guess they didn't have the forethought to see that.
Yeah, and I don't blame Gio either. He you know, at that point he has to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is if that's the company line, what is he gonna say?
But at the same time, you know, and just being honest here, even at the time I was saying, I'm like, what does Sony get out of this? I didn't think about it either, you know?
Crossplay games?
Yeah. Even I didn't know at the time. Now I understand what they get out of it, but at the time I was like, what the fuck did they get out of this?
I'm pretty sure I said something or argued with somebody about this. I may not
probably me and you. Maybe it wasn't.
We all said it was best for business. It made sense.
Yeah.
It was a contested one.
It was we didn't all agree. We got into a heated battle over that. I know I was on the side. I'm like, why? I'm like, I was like, how does Sony benefit from this shit?
You know? Well, I remember you and Manny. You don't like the crossplay.
Yeah, Manny and I were the guys who were like, what's the point of all this? You know. So yeah, that did happen.
The healthier you make the ecosystem, the more titles it's going to sell.
Yeah. I mean, I see it now, but in the time, I'm like, what? What it was?
I get it. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. I'm not. Yeah. This is one of those like, oh, I fucking told you.
Yeah.
It's just to support, the healthier you keep a game's environment, the longer it's going to sell. It's not even necessarily the initial sales. It's how long you view the game as viable and healthy. Really affects whether some people want to play it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like you gotta understand a game with like Fortnite. That game is fucking everywhere. It's on phone, it's on Switches, it's on Xboxes. You know, it's on everything. So you don't go through the scenarios where back in the day, like for example the 360 days, it's like, okay, I want to play Call of Duty, and like do I get it on Xbox or PlayStation or a PC? It's like, where do your friends play? That's the platform you got. And if you got the different platform and you already paid for it on Christmas, you're fucked. So, in this scenario, it's like, yeah, I do have a PlayStation and my friends do play Fortnite on the Xbox, but I can still play with them. So it doesn't really, it doesn't detest people from getting another console. If your console is the dominant one in terms of the share of the people that are playing this, then you're still ahead.
So does Fortnite have like a friend system that carries over? Is that how everybody's able to find each other when they jump on from platform to platform?
Well, I know they have an account. I don't know how.
Yeah, I know they account because I've heard about like their level system. But the whole thing I'm wondering is about friends. That's why I think it really matters. Right?
I guess you must be able to tie in your Xbox Live and whatever, and it knows your friends, so it matches them with their Epic accounts. That's the only way I could imagine it would work, right? Because everybody has different friends lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't play Fortnite, so I don't know.
Yeah, I need to. I don't know.
I'm not 8 years old.
Just making a guess.
You probably have to ask one of your nephews about that one.
Well, no, just the one, because the older nephew, he's like, fuck Fortnite, He's all about Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
All right.
Fortnite one,
You mean
like 93 or something.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like he's all about Mortal Kombat, over 20-year-old franchise.
No, what are you talking about? Yeah, well, he is old. He's fucking 20 now,
No, but I'm saying like it's over 20-year, like a 30-year franchise.
Yeah, well, think about it. He plays all the new ones, Mortal Kombat did have a new game recently. All right, we'll move on, but we're still on Epic and Apple because, again, a lot of things came out. Yeah. Okay, so also back during this time, during the whole Fortnite fiasco and crossplay and all that, one of the things that I specifically asked on this show, and I think Manny was too, is like, why isn't anyone talking about the fact that you have to pay to play free-to-play games on Xbox? No one was talking about that at the point, right? Turns out Microsoft, one of the reasons Microsoft went ahead and removed that paywall is because of Epic pressuring them. Because it was even happening back then, but Microsoft wasn't relenting. So that's also interesting too, Epic kind of, not strong-arming, but going, Microsoft, what the fuck, man? Why people, because again, Fortnite was the biggest game, and I don't know if it's still the biggest game. It may still be. So I guess they had that kind of push for Microsoft, and Microsoft also had the smallest platform, at least compared to PlayStation. So I guess that's why they felt confident going, yo, what the fuck, let me see if there's any quotes here that I could read. Again, all these emails came out. It's so much shit,
Did you get them, Adam?
Yeah. Oh, check this out. No, Adam didn't get them.
No.
This is from Tim Sweeney. I don't know how relevant this will be, though. This is from Tim Sweeney to Phil Spencer. Long ago, we talked optimistically about the possibility of subscription-free multiplayer on Xbox. PlayStation requires subscriptions for multiplayer, but exempts free-to-play games. If this is coming, please consider the possibility of timing the program to support Fortnite Season 14 launch. Yo, my man.
14.
Yeah, this launch will follow the confidential Fortnite Mega Drop 20% price. Oh, he's just listing the shit that's beneficial. Epic has certain plans for August that will provide an extraordinary opportunity to highlight the value proposition of consoles and PCs in contrast to mobile platforms and to onboard new console gamers. While I can't share details with any third party at this point, I give you Epic's assurance that our efforts will be positive and supportive of Microsoft, Xbox, and Windows. I realize this is an incomplete information, and you have a big ship that's slow to turn. Interesting. So the specific ask is, please keep in mind that this possibility for 8/27, August 27th, and expect events throughout August to draw. All right, blah blah blah. Chris, you're ready to say something.
Yeah, no, I love it in there because you read in the stuff. That's a giant middle finger to Apple right there. The proposition, the value proposition of consoles and PCs in contrast to mobile platforms. Basically, like, hey, we don't really want to deal with this shit. We really want to deal with you guys. And if you throw us a bone here, it'll be a win for both of us, right? Just basically, I mean, at this point, they're trying to get around the iOS restrictions, right? The Apple Store restrictions, and the 30%. They didn't want to pay them, They didn't want to pay Apple. That's what this lawsuit's all about. So it's that's fantastic that he was backroom dealing with Phil Spencer to time free multiplayer with the release of the season at the same time trying to cut Apple out of the profit sharing, right? And then they probably kicked something to Microsoft if they had done it at the same time.
That's
so
right.
That's hilarious, you know.
That's some
and
wild
just
shit.
A giant middle finger to Apple, you know, and they deserve it.
Yeah, fuck Apple.
Here's an interesting question though about a lot of this.
By the way, the subject was Apple too, so yeah, there you go.
What the one thing about this is, like, you know, you're talking about the 30% charge over. Now, what was the amount of money that Epic was sending over to Sony?
Oh, do we know that? How much money?
What percentage was that? Because obviously they were paying a little bit extra on top for the remote for crossplay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Sony was charging a percentage, but I don't know what for microtransactions. But I don't know what that percentage was. It wasn't in the article. Apple charges everyone across the board 30% fee per purchase of an app and any other item off of the Apple Store, right? So
even the free shit.
No, well, if it's zero, right, you know, you can't get a percentage off that. If it's free, it's free. But if you have, even if you have in-app purchases, I think Apple takes a cut of those.
Yeah, they do.
That's the biggest
right.
Yeah. So like every time you buy a suit or a stupid character from Fortnite or a stupid dance, you get a cut. You know, they get a cut from that, and they get a pretty significant 30% is not a little bit, man.
That's a lot.
That's a huge amount. That's why
they almost a third, bro. It's like, bro, shit.
Yeah, 3.33% more.
33% is yeah. Go ahead.
It's that this is their mall. You know,
yeah.
It's like, hey, we own this, so we can charge whatever, and that's the going rate across all their platforms, which it was for a while. And
they're I mean, Apple is essentially the landlord. You know, they're the ones that have you know the buildings. They own the buildings, and Apple, you know, just bought a store within there. And I mean, it doesn't even work like that. Like, you know, if the Apple Store is within a mall, they obviously pay for, you know, the property and they rent it and stuff, but they don't give a cut off of every iPhone they sell to the landlord.
Imagine that. It's like, we're paying rent and a cut from every item sold. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous if you think about it that way.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting stuff. And then, all right, the other thing. All right, actually, one more thing because I got to set up the Chiron here. Anything else you guys want to say about the whole Microsoft thing and Epic? It's kind of interesting how Epic was like coming at Microsoft in a little bit different way than you know, they were with Sony. You know.
They have a different business deal that goes all the way back to freaking Gears of War, because almost all those people left that were at Epic Games, and then when it got sold to another group, because that's also when Cliffy left, and that other group was like, oh, we're just going to focus on the engine and doing some other stuff. It really surprises me that they even went this route to make a game.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, and that was one thing when Cliffy beat, when they were asking, oh, why didn't you stick around for Fortnite? They weren't even talking about making games anymore. It was all about their engine, and that was it. And so he was like, I don't need this shit. I'm making my money. And he left. Yeah. And that's the other reason why they were open to selling Gears, the IP, to Microsoft. They're like, yeah, take this shit.
It's interesting. All right, moving on. This is yet another thing that was revealed during the Apple trial.
Secret reveal.
So apparently Walmart was or is working on their own cloud gaming service. Walmart. The place with the big fat hicks. They're working on their own streaming service, you know. So my thing is like, there's already enough of these out there. What is Walmart going to bring to the table? You know, like I'm looking at this email here, and it says like they're going to try to combine indie games and AAAs and shit, third parties, and they're showing documents of how they would stream to like mobile TVs, you know, computers. All this other shit, but
and
I don't know.
Obviously, they want to talk to Epic about this.
Yeah, they were thinking about charging $2 for this thing. Wow.
Oh, you mean Walmart prices?
Yeah, Walmart. Yeah, pretty much. Like you're gonna get your video games in bulk too. You know.
Hey, you got a humble bundle, right? The humble bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the hell they would even try to sell. Like, would they just get like known IPs that's like that, third party IPs that they could pay to
That's
put
what
on
it
their
looks like
service?
here. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Oh man, that seems like a really dumb idea for them. You like a company like maybe Epic could probably do it. Because they have their Epic store and
Yeah.
they have games and stuff, and they have they have a track record. Walmart, they just have a track record of selling other people's stuff.
They have their own brand of computers.
Walmart
Or
computers.
there was a company that they bought, because they do that with TVs and stuff. I know
No,
they
they don't.
On TV ON, and
They-
they bought
it-
that
it-
brand. And
It's the Amazon approach. They just pay for other companies' products, and they just put in their
Slap a
logos
logo on it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So then they can just slap some games on it.
Yo, off topic but still on topic. I had a split second of an old man moment right now because they're showing all the platforms you could stream to, right? And one of them was a watch. And for a second, I'm like, watches streaming, and it's like, Tony, they have smartwatches, bro. Completely forgot. By the way, I don't understand the point of a smartwatch if you have a phone. But
I mean, it's because it involves you not having to go pull
dig
out
in your
phone
pocket.
every single
You know
second.
what?
Yeah.
That actually makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah, like especially with how dumb and huge phones have somehow managed to become now.
Remember,
right?
just totally
good
off
for
topic.
text
Remember when phones were getting smaller and smaller? There's a joke like, how long small can they go? Now they're getting bigger and bigger. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I know total non sequitur. But I was like, watch? Like, how you stream to a watch? Smartphones, smartwatches, bro. But yeah, again, okay. So let's break this down. So we currently, and we're gonna talk about this one later. We got Stadia, right? Got Project X Cloud. Got GeForce Now. We got Amazon Luna. We got Shadow, right? That's 5. Not to mention PlayStation Now. That's 6. What the hell do we need this thing for? The Walmart joint, you know?
Well, I feel like that's a different. What they're doing is they're essentially making a general audience market. Whereas it's like, people who go to Walmarts are not, it's the general public sort of thing. So what you do is you present it in a specific way, and then I think that's what they're sort of like going for. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So what
did you look at this diagram?
Yeah, I'm looking at the diagram. That's what weirded me out. I'm like, wait, what's that watch doing there? But yeah, so some of the companies they have listed here, I guess proposed companies, because we don't even know if this thing's going to happen. Uplay, Origin, Steam, Epic, Bethesda. I can't read that other title. But yeah, Chris, go ahead about the diagram.
Oh, BattleNet. Yeah.
BattleNet.
So they would support all these third-party launchers. So if you bought titles from any of these launchers, you could play them off of Walmart's cloud.
Oh,
yeah. So you're basically all you have to do is pay.
It's like
Walmart's
GeForce.
like
It's
GeForce.
Like GeForce Now. The
That's
GeForce
right.
Now, what
Yeah.
they were trying to
Exactly.
do.
Yeah,
Keep all
it's
those
exactly.
stores under one.
Yep. So you pay the small fee for Walmart's cloud, and they would work with indie guys and give them developer tools to develop games for them exclusively. But anything else, anything AAA, if you already owned it, you could play it off their cloud. No extra charge, and you owned it, right?
yeah.
So that's what they're offering. It's not like Stadia where you have to pay their bullshit, buy the bullshit from them, and you don't really own it.
See, that's how these cool. It's like you use your own games, you know.
Yeah,
but again, we have
GeForce
GeForce Now. We already have it.
Yeah, they were doing this. It's basically their version of that.
Yeah, it just seems to me the only edge they would have is their price, $2 a month, I guess.
That and the partnership, because remember, GeForce Now had a lot of the big publishers in the stores, and then they all started bouncing on them. That's when I stopped. Like, all my games, Doom and everything just dropped off. Capcom removed all their shit. So
and it was crazy, Adam, because it was like a week or days before launch. You know?
Yeah, everything just started dropping. It was very random, and it probably came down to money. They probably wanted money to have that shit on there.
Yeah.
But whatever. But that's the thing. What you just read off with all the companies that Walmart's working with, that would be a big deciding factor there.
Yeah. Or proposed companies, and we don't know. We don't even know this.
Yeah, propose, right? And then then those companies are like, you did not propose this to us.
You know.
Don't just name drop, because I'm sure they would want a little something extra for doing it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that would be cool. You know, that'd be the ICQ for video games. Remember ICQ?
ICQ bringing it back. Oh man! All right, let's move on. No. Oh, go ahead, Carlos.
I just don't. If Game Pass, becomes as part of the zeitgeist as I think a lot of us think it would, then these types of services are dead. As soon as they start, because they don't really make sense. You have to buy the games. It's on their cloud, and it's like it's a lot more complicated than what other streaming services are trying to do, which are kind of more streamlined. I mean, even Stadia is a little bit more streamlined. It's stupid that you have to pay for everything, like even if you own the game. So I don't know, man. I'll just wait for the Dollar General streaming service.
There you go.
Dollar General.
Oh man! All right, let us move on. Now we're finally done with the Epic trial. But again, there's a lot more we didn't cover. It was a lot of shit that came to light. All right, next thing, there's a follow-up. So about like a month ago, probably less than a month ago, we talked about how Microsoft was looking to acquire Discord, and we made some jokes like, "Oh shit, Throwdown's done," because we use Discord. But obviously, Discord did not decide to go with Microsoft. Turns out, they're partnering, not being bought. They're partnering with PlayStation. So next year, it's not happening this year. Next year, they're going to integrate Discord with PlayStation Network. We don't know how. They didn't really detail that, but I think it's cool, because we use Discord all the time, obviously. So to have it on PlayStation Network,
I'm wondering what
cool.
the integration is.
Oh, it's got to be big, or else they would just port an app. The key word is that integration. So I'm assuming it's going to be part of the menu system. When we go to do a chat, it will probably have an option of just like Discord and probably see a whole new interface.
So this time, in order to chat, you're gonna have to press the PlayStation button. You're gonna have to go all the way down, scroll all the way to the right to the Discord icon, go all the way down to your server, go all the way to the DMs. Yo, man, they need to fix that fucking interface.
But the pound sign and the numbers. What do you mean the pound sign? I put your name in there. You got to put the pound sign.
It's the hashtag, sir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, I'm old. Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Pound sign. It's a hashtag, man. Get with it.
It's the prison bars, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Prison bars.
I mean, I think this is pretty big news. I mean, it's not as big as if they were to buy them straight out. I don't know if they could even afford them.
I don't know about that.
I don't
they
think
did.
they would.
Yeah, they did get a minority share on Discord, so they get that partnership. I mean, the PS Chat I'm not a big fan of, anyways. Yeah. So integrating it with Discord, having it seamless between Discord, maybe you guys are playing a game or something, and I'm on my PC and stuff. I think it'll be much easier.
You could probably see it. You could probably see the gameplay. It'll almost be like a
that'll be cool.
Twitch. That's what I was assuming, and it's going to be like its own version of Twitch, but just for the PlayStation Network.
Think about it. When we do the podcast, Chris can be playing his game, and we can see it and hear it.
Yeah.
There we go, and criticize him. That's how it works, right? We can shame them.
Oh, that's it. So that's what's gonna happen next year. We're gonna do Throwdown specifically through PlayStation Network through Discord.
Yeah, it will really be the pony show.
Exactly. You fucking ponies, man, doing on PlayStation 5. Maybe with the new PlayStation 5 model, but we'll talk about that later. But there's not really much to say about the Discord thing because hasn't happened yet. They're very frugal with details, so who knows? But I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. So stay tuned for more details as they show up. All right, moving on. Another Sony thing. So this was making the rounds today. I saw a lot of very angry people. Mm-hmm. So Sony is being sued for restricting its digital game sales to PlayStation Store. The first thing I thought when I read this, I'm like, what kind of shicer lawyer came up with this shit? Literally the first thing I thought, because it's like, go ahead, man, go ahead.
This is literally the stupidest reason to sue. Think about it. Like every single platform is like that, where it's like if you're digital, you buy your digital games off of whatever digital store that you're working toward, right? There's I mean, it's like you'd have to sue every single company for that, Nintendo and Microsoft, right?
Yeah, because they're saying that it's like, it's a monopoly.
It's not a monopoly, to be honest. Like, if you can't, the thing about it is that you can buy those games at other stores. You just have to buy the physical edition of those versions. And in fact, some stores are actually offering digital copies of games where you can literally buy like the card,
Yeah.
with the code on it.
Yeah, it just doesn't make much sense. Like, what type of stupid company would sue another company because they have a digital platform where that's the only place that you can get stuff? You know, it's like being a brain dead company that sues Apple for the same reasons. Oh wait,
Wait a minute. Maybe we're not looking in the right direction. Are you sure it's not? No, because I remember Nintendo had pulled all their games from Amazon, right? Like the digital stuff. You couldn't buy digital. And then something happened and they put it all back. So now you can look up a game and you can get the physical or you can get the digital.
For Nintendo,
and you
right?
can get for Nintendo.
Yeah.
And remember, you used to be able to do that for PlayStation.
You used to, yeah.
So
Well, that's
that
what they're
way
trying
you
to say.
can-
They're trying to say that since you can't buy the games off of Amazon, it's a monopoly.
Monopoly?
I don't know about that. I think it not even just Amazon, but still, I agree with it. Because think about it. If let's say you want to buy, like when we were trying to do the gifts for people for games, and you can't do it, you got to do a set amount of money. Why can't you just get a code? It's still going into their pockets. It's still a game that they have to get through the PSN store. The code just unlocks it, but just sell that game code on other outlets, not just Amazon, but anywhere. Because I remember you used to be able to, also on GameStop, you used to be able to do that. I remember getting games and sending it stuff, and now you can't do that. Now it's all through there. So yeah, I guess in that way, I see that kind of sucks. Open it up for us. It's good for people. I don't care about the business side, but I think that would be beneficial whenever we do these giveaways. Instead of just giving a set amount of, now wondering $70 game, whatever, we could actually just go and get the code and like, here's your game code. There you go.
Well, that's what we used to do. You know,
that's what I'm saying. They stopped doing it.
Yeah, but again, I don't think this is illegal what they're doing. You know,
no, it's not. It's not illegal.
Yeah. Brett, you have something to say about it because you brought this to my attention earlier today.
I think it's both simultaneously ridiculous and kind of a good point. Like, they clearly did. Like, here's my beef. Sony has kind of cornered the market, and there have been times where they've clearly exploited that, where a game is still $60, but on their digital platform it's still $60 on their digital platform, and you can go out and buy it for like $15 used. So I agree with the idea that hey, you guys using this kind of power to exclude other wholesalers and price hike the market is not cool. But also, yeah, welcome to fucking video games. So, the question then kind of becomes, where do you draw the line? And in their instance, I kind of think like, yeah, Sony's insistence to not sell codes to Amazon is kind of bullshit. Because they're just trying to funnel all the business. Like, we all know what they're doing, and we all know it's mildly nefarious, and we all know it's kind of not illegal. So it's just a weird place to be. It's a nuanced situation. I can't say I'm particularly one way or the other about it. I kind of have mixed feelings.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think it's stupid, but it does bring up a good point, of which I think we've kind of all at least talked about once. And obviously, it's not the biggest deal to me. Otherwise, I would have gotten a full digital system. But I'd like to see competition still thrive, even after we've gone full digital. And it doesn't seem like we're going that way right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they're going to pull that off. I guess like one platform would have like cheaper digital games than the other one. I don't know.
Well, we just had that with Nintendo, and that's the other reason why I brought it up, because they have these sales of the physical and the digital for a lot of these first party games for like $30, $40. But if you were to go into the Nintendo eShop, it's still full price. So it's like, oh, if you're going to get these games, it's on sale on Amazon, and you can actually get the digital code. And it's a legit code that'll link you to the eShop, and it's on sale. You save some money. And I guess that's what Sony wants to avoid. They don't want that type of shit, that if a store has a surplus of X amount of, fucking Zelda Breath of the Wilds at this day and age where everyone fucking has it already. I'm like, all right, we're going to put that shit on sale this weekend. They don't want to hear that.
Yeah, Nintendo ain't doing that shit, Nintendo's not doing that. But I think this lawsuit's going to get dismissed, to be honest. I don't think there has any weight to it, So that's that. Yeah, go ahead,
but
Brian.
then, but at the same time, like, this is a very similar reason to why Epic have sued Apple in the first place. Is that they sued on a similar precedent. So hence, if the Apple Epic thing goes through and it's a victory for Apple somehow, then it sets like the precedent's like, hey, like if you're another company and you feel like that another company has a monopoly on their platform, then you have the right to sue. So hence, I'm thinking this won't go away until the Apple Epic thing is sorted out.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess we'll have to see. All right. Any last thoughts on this? That's a no. So we'll move on to the next thing here. Again, a lot of stuff happened this week, man. Still on the Sony pony train. So Sony, so Sony registers a trademark for Sunset Overdrive.
Oh shit!
It's coming. It's coming. Remember, they own Insomniac, so this actually makes a lot of sense. So again, all we know is just a trademark. But what I think may happen is not only will we get a sequel potentially, but probably the first game on PlayStation 5. Like a remake.
Because didn't with the Mass Effect thing, wasn't that Sony couldn't get the first one?
Sony did get the first one eventually.
They did.
Yeah,
eventually.
Yeah, they did. And this is the same type of deal.
And they're about to get it again next week.
So yeah, what do you guys think about the possibility of Sunset Overdrive 1 on PlayStation 5 and even a sequel? I thought the first game was great. I thought, as a matter of fact, it's actually running on the same engine as Spider-Man. Spider-Man. So yeah, I'd be down for that. The game was a lot of fun. A lot of really good music in there. Very colorful graphics. Fun gameplay.
What
happened?
A lot of sliding.
Yeah, a lot of sliding. A lot of sliding. What do you think of Sunset Overdrive, Carlos?
I mean, I played a little bit of it. I didn't really get too deep into that game. It was fine. It was, I think with Insomniac, I don't think they can do any wrong.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the titles have just been hits. I mean, this game didn't really sell as well as I think they probably would have expected, but critically, it was received really well. Yeah. So as much as we keep talking about these sort of treasure chests of games that these companies have. Like Xbox has the whole Bethesda war chest, and they're all studios and stuff, and Halo and Gears and Forza, and Sony. If they don't want to become the whole Spider-Man, God of War, Uncharted factory, they need these titles like the Sunset Overdrives, all of these IPs that they can lean back on and release them. And I think that kind of game might even be received better
on PlayStation fans. Yeah,
because I think there's a lot of core. Not only is it an Insomniac game, but I think a lot of the Infamous crowd would like this type of game also. Yeah. I think there's a lot of similarities. So yeah, I'm for it, and I would if there's a sequel, I'll probably try it out.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the reason I like it. I'm like, hey, this is kind of like Infamous a little bit, and it's like you said, Insomniac, man, they kind of can't do any wrong,
Yeah,
I can tell you a game that was really bad that they made. See, the thing is, you guys are all going to say like, oh shit, what's Brian going to say? Like, he's going to say like Spider-Man or something stupid.
He's going to say Resistance.
You got to say Resistance?
No. Man, he knows. Fuse.
I know.
Oh, Fuse.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone forgets about that game.
Yeah. There's a reason people forgot about that.
Was that the Xbox game?
No, it was on every platform.
It was a multi-platform thing. But it got sabotaged by EA. That's what happened with it.
Yeah, Brian, I'm glad you bring up Fuse, the game everybody forgets, go ahead.
What's the name of the Xbox game? Not Sunset, but the one that came out, I think it was maybe during the 360 era, like late 360 era.
Link?
That wasn't Resistance?
No, Resistance was a PlayStation 3 game. All three of them.
Wait, Insomniac game that only came out on Xbox?
Well, maybe it was multi-platform.
It Fuse.
That was okay. That was in the late 360 PS3 era, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
2013.
that's
yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. And
You
that's
know,
the one
Brian's
thing
right.
about the
Brian's
game.
100% right. By the way, quick story about that. So this was like the second EA event I ever went to, right? And that was the highlight game. Right, so I go. This is funny. So I go into the you know, the room and shit, and all the other PR people were busy with the other journalists, you know, showing them the game and stuff. So the guy who showed me the ropes was none other than Price, you know, the Insomniac guy, you know, Ted
David
Price.
Price?
Yeah,
Ted
so
Price.
Ted Price. So that was really cool. And then I remember this is also like an eye-opening experience for me, right? So I'm in there like, okay, we're gonna have all four of you guys. It was like. No, it was 8 of us, I believe. 4 versus 4. Like, all right, we're gonna have all you guys fight against each other. You know, just try the game out. And remember, I'm still fresh in the industry. I'm just 6 months in, right? And I'm thinking, oh fuck, I'm against gaming journalists. I'm gonna get fucking smoked. Because in my head, I was like, gaming journalists have to be elite, pro level gamers, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in there. 2 minutes in, I'm like, why am I smoking these dudes? You know, like I'm killing the whole other team and shit. The other journalists about women, like, how do you press? How do you shoot? You know, how do you jump? You know, I'm like, what is going on here, bruh? So that was a very eye-opening experience. And I'm like, these motherfuckers can't play games. You know, and also I remember fucking the instant I leave the room, right? Because it was like a hotel. It was a whole floor dedicated to a bunch of EA games, right? Instant I leave the room. Like the second I leave, I hear, "Hey, yo, Tone!" Hip hop gamer, man. I got a bunch of stories just from that one. Then I'll get this quick one. Then I'll let you guys. Actually, I think we're kind of done with the Sunset Overdrive thing. But so I was talking to a couple of people from DualShockers. I was still like, I'm like, shit, DualShockers, this is crazy. Little did I know, a year from that time, I would be at DualShockers, and I was talking to a guy who was one of their new writers, and he had only been writing there for a year, right? So he's talking to me and shit, and I'm telling him like, hey, yeah, you're doing good, man. You know, keep doing your thing, keep practicing. You're gonna make it in this industry. And it wasn't until later on that I'm like, yo, Tony, you've been in this fucking industry for 6 months. You're telling a guy who's been there a year what to do, you know? Because I went in there, people thought I've been in this industry forever. You know, I went into the main room, I'm fucking talking, I had everybody's attention and shit, you know, and I'm literally the new guy, you know, but everybody's looking at me like I'm the fucking boss, you know. It's all about how you present yourself, man. You know,
you do talk like you're like an older guy talking to kids sometimes. Like you feel like yeah, you're like the responsible one in the room. I got to impart my knowledge to the kids, you know. So that was a fun thing. That's the first time I saw Steven Tortillo. I'm like, damn, you look bored, bruh. What's going on here? What did Torrance call him? Steven Tortilla? Tortillo, you know. Yeah, Sunset Overdrive, bring that shit. Let's go, man. All right, moving on. No, man, bring back Resistance, man. Fuck. Yeah, hey, Brian, you like Resistance, man?
I don't think I played it.
Oh,
never ran to it.
Very interesting.
It's like early PS3 days, and I didn't get a PS3 until God of War because I thought that's the only worthwhile PS3 game to get a PS3 for.
It's about a pissed off plumber who's related to Mario, but from a different part of town, and he didn't get those cool deals, and he just fucking rages on everybody with his wrench. It's kind of crazy.
Bad. All right, moving on. Last PlayStation story of the night. So, big surprise here. Although the timing is a little surprising, but the story is not surprising. Sony's already working on a revised model of the PlayStation 5.
But that's not by choice. That's by necessity.
I think they have to.
They can't get all the parts they need.
Okay, go ahead.
Is this the model revision for the bypassing of the semiconductors that I talked about last week and everybody said it was crazy?
They're bypassing a lot of shit. Yeah, they're bypassing a lot of shit
for a lot of shit. I'll read this article. This is from PC Mag, my where I write for. Matthew Humphreys, one of my former editors. Love that dude, great guy. He goes, there's not much detail on what we can expect beyond a new version of the AMD Zen 2 processor manufactured using 6nm process. The chip used in all PS5's consoles today is 7nm parts, so the move to 6nm should bring with it a small performance gain / power saving. It's also thought to include some further customization, although it will still have to remain fully compatible with the existing chip. So that's what we know. That's all we know at the moment.
Yeah, it's like, in the 360 days, they would change chips all the time.
Yeah.
Remember
like
the Jasper.
The Jasper, yeah, they had all of those. The one that came with the HDMI. They would have changed. They would do these like soft kind of little reboots that no one would ever notice.
It was just always in bundles. Yeah, you didn't. What was the big noticeable one? Was remember when they added the 16 gig RAM? When it went from 8 to 16 gig, and that was a big deal. What the fuck? How this game runs better on the black box? It's like, well,
yeah. So I think the reason I really wanted to talk about this story is because a lot of people are already jumping the gun saying this is the PS5 Pro. No. It's just it's a
system refresher.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead. School these motherfuckers, man.
Well, it's just a refresh to get around the shortage, right? We talked about
that's right.
The whole semiconductor thing. And I mean, yeah, and Brett, I know you mentioned it too. I don't know the details of this since the news just broke, and they didn't really detail what's involved in this new 6-nanometer process. But it's not a PS5 Pro. It's not a complete redesign of the whole system. It's just they need a new process that can manufacture readily and the supply is available. They cannot keep kind of just having these stalls and then like having this small output of systems. You see what happens every time. It's like, oh, Walmart got a small shipment, Best Buy gets a small shipment. What happens? The fucking stores get dogpiled on. They can't get a consistent supply out, and that's going to keep happening into next year. So they're like, fuck it, they're just going to refresh the system and change the chip so they can get the manufacturing solid and they can get the supply solid, so they put on new systems. If they did a PS5 Pro, you would see a board change. There would be a layout change to the board and the system, so you don't have the Javits Center as a cooling device. So they could shrink the whole thing, So that's going to be the Pro, which I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if there's going to be a PS5, to be honest with you. But if they did that, it would be to get the cooling and everything down, so the system is away 1,000 pounds. It's not gigantic. That's going to be your Pro.
People don't even have a PS5. So for them to come out with a Pro version was like people still trying to get the other one that just came out.
Yeah, and I think also another factor of using the smaller chip is heat dissipation and how much heat comes out of that thing. The way that they're going to transition from a PS5 to a PS5 Pro is by making it smaller. So this is their way to introducing another chip to putting it in the wild and seeing, okay, so the thermals on this have aren't as as high as they used to be, and they're reduced by this much, and we can use this a mini Jacob Javits Center instead of a full one, and they can work with that on a production environment and help the production of the new PS5 Pro. And I think that's a good way to do it. I don't know. Chris mentioned the whole thing about the shortages and using another chip to circumvent that by getting another production line for it. I have no clue. I don't know if they even said that. It could be, that could definitely be one of the things, because the issues that they're having right now with supply is not only found with PlayStation, it's fucking everywhere. It's cars, it's everywhere. So
yeah, there was a news report. This is unrelated to gaming, but it's still it's related to this. Is that Ford has thousands of pickups and sedans sitting in a lot somewhere. I forgot what state it is, because they don't have the chips for the onboard circuitry.
Oh,
so
shit.
The cars are built and they have no circuit boards, so they have to sit out in a lot somewhere waiting for these boards to come in to finish them. That's how bad it is.
That's wild, man. It's affecting like we talked about last week. It affects everything, not just games.
Yeah, you see it with the phones, everything.
Yeah. All right, move on. By the way, apologies to you guys in here. I just tossed a story in here now because Tumeka reminded me. We got to talk about some of this Halo Infinite dirt that was leaked, man.
Oh, they getting dirty?
Some crazy shit. So and I'm getting this off a Reset Era, right? But there's a video out there, but we don't know Chinese, So, but this is a translated shit. A former 343 employee, he's a Skybox artist, shared some insight on Halo Infinite. It says the video's in Mandarin, so I try to translate his words into English. I'm just going to read the bullet points here. So just indulge me for a bit. But we'll give our thoughts on each one. His overall feeling on Halo Infinite, this was what his overall feeling was. In fact, I think the finished product will be great. The story is a big improvement, and the gameplay is much richer, though the development cycle is too long. Don't expect it to be an epoch-making masterpiece. All right, the second point here is the company executives were overly ambitious. They wanted to make Halo Infinite a semi-open world game, so the engine needed to be changed significantly. They had to make the game and develop the engine at the same time. Due to engine defects, many workflows were not ideal, though they are now much more improved than before. Last year's disastrous demo was because many engine features were not fully implemented at the time. Yet they released the fucking demo, For a variety of reasons, the game content compared to the original idea had been cut. Same for multiplayer. This has led to some things I've made over the years that no one will probably ever see. The team at 343, especially the low-level employees, works very hard, and many of them have experience working overtime until early hours in the morning in the past few years. Crunch confirmed. And then the last thing here is now talking about the guy. Now he works at Certain Affinity, that's the name of the company, still doing some HI outsourcing work, and he feels good to be out of 343's baggage. Fuck.
Oh,
damn, man. So what do you guys think about all this shit?
And this has been kind of confirmed by Schreier, right? I think he talked about it, and he tweeted about it, saying that he's going to have a story about this also.
I knew all along. Schreier know.
Someone said crunch, and he fucking sneezed.
Yeah, he crunch, Captain Crunch. You know what you're talking about. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say what I said on Twitter because, okay. By the way, so for the month of March, I was a hardcore Xbot according to Twitter. Right, huge Xbot. Right, I'm back to being a pony again, man. I'm back to being a pony again because of what I said about Halo. And I've said this on the show before, but I'll say it again. Right. I think that Halo as a franchise is irrelevant. I think unless it does a God of War 2018 reboot where you have pretty much an all new setting, and all that, but you still honor the past, no one cares, man. And the thing is, and I'm saying, and the specific thing I said on Twitter that got me lambasted was Halo needs a reboot. And I will stick to that. Halo needs a reboot. Be like, what about Halo Infinite? It's bigger and better. It is like being a bigger Halo is still Halo. It's like, look at that fucking trailer. Like, obviously they're gonna improve it, but it's like it doesn't show me anything that's like, oh, this is new, this is different. Like, remember when you saw God of War 2018 for example, you're like, yo, they're going to this is different now. This is not the old God of War, right? Halo is the same old fucking shit. And we have all these other shooters out there that are just, I don't think Halo, like, it's a shooter of the past. Yeah, it was cool back in the day. It was great for what it did, but it's and it's been irrelevant since 2007, since when Call of Duty Modern Warfare dethroned it. And ironically enough, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or the Modern Warfare games are still the top of the heap. That's what people like. So unless Halo does a significant reboot where it becomes a modern day shooter, I don't know, man. But the other problem is the fan base. They don't want changes. These guys were pissed off when they added sprinting into the game. When they added shooting down sights into the game. So you have to overcome the fans as well. So I don't know if they could do it. I think this game will be fine. I don't think the game's going to be bad or anything. But I don't think it's going to be like this guy said. I don't think it's going to be some revolutionary masterpiece, which is a shame because Microsoft needs that. It looks like you're just going to have to get it from Bethesda games because they ain't getting it from 343. Because what is 343 at the end of the day? They're just custodians. They're not there to shake up the franchise. They're just there to keep going, keep the shit going. They're not there to inject anything new in there. So I don't really have faith in this. And Carlos, you can tell me, did 343 do anything good with Halo since they took over? Because I don't think they have.
I mean, they've just made standard games. Nothing's really bad. Nothing like some games have bad multiplayer aspects. Other games have bad single player aspects, and they kind of switch and reversed. The whole Master Chief Collection was a complete failure in my opinion, because that burned me. And yeah, no, I agree with Tony. He is a pony.
Giddy up, giddy up.
No, but seriously, like Tony's right about the whole 343 thing. They were sort of built from the ground up to sort of carry the torch that Bungie, lit up. And Bungie, they were fed up with that game, and they were like, we need to do other stuff. We need to fucking do a shitty Destiny.
They just made Halo open world, what Halo Infinite was trying to do.
Yeah, they pretty much did that. Yeah, they pretty much did that. And I mean, does Halo still have a chance? I think so. Is it likely? I think it's more unlikely than it is. It's going through. It's not only, even though it's not an annual game, somehow it has franchise fatigue in a way. Because it just doesn't have the same pop. It's not even close.
It never feels fresh. It never feels new.
It's always the same shit.
Like the same enemies. Everything. They need to just switch the whole thing up. We already know Master Chief is RoboCop in space. Bring him back to Earth. Put him in Detroit. Change the setting, and that's it. And we're good. And then bring the soundtrack. Just have it blasting in the background for the next 10 hours. And there you go. That's it. That's all you hear. When we do a live tape, it's like, what are you doing? You're going to hear that. 12 hours in. Still
he's facing on the Covenant. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, man.
And if 343 and Xbox follow what the fans are saying, then they're stupid to do so, because the Halo franchise had a really strong fan base, and they've been leaking since fucking 2007.
Yeah.
Halo 3 was a great game, but it also went against fucking Call of Duty Modern Warfare when that came out, and that fucking blew the fucking roof out. And they released like Halo Reach and Halo 3 ODST, which were really good games. And after that, it all went downhill, and that's exactly when 343 took over. And I'm not saying that 343 is a bad studio per se. They just don't really they don't really have any new ideas for the franchise. And this whole making it semi-open world, it's just like, what are you gonna do? Make a Destiny game? Like are you gonna follow Bungie over there again? So, man. I'm disappointed, because I used to be a Halo fan, a huge ass fucking Halo fan, and I don't hate it or anything, but it sucks that it's lost a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember, because Chris, you were a big Halo fan too. You bought Halo 5, you never even touched it. You're like, eh.
Yeah, no, I mean, I talked to Rich about it, and I was like, yeah.
No, yes.
Actually, no. When he died, he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wow.
So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on the whole all these leaks? It's not a leak, it's just the guy telling his experience there,
I mean, there's always crunch. We talked about that with crunch. It's just part of life for everything. No surprises there. I don't know why people want to be like, oh, crunch. You know what? I know in some places I worked that people enjoyed crunch because if they needed extra money, that was the way to make the extra money.
Yeah.
So if they're like, shit, if I do crunch 4 or 5 months, I bang out my entire car bill right there. I knew people that were like that. They didn't give a shit. Of course, there's people that have families and stuff. They do give a shit. But for those who don't, so... it's one of those things, but it's everywhere. Crunch is everywhere, so there's no point in bringing that shit up again.
I think the biggest thing is whether somebody's being compensated in some way for the amount of hours that they're literally putting in. You know, one thing that a lot of people do not talk about with game developers is what they get for that crunch. I know a lot of these guys are probably salary, but there is usually something else that they get on top of that if they ever do that sort of crunching. You know, I don't mean, I'm granted this
like
is probably
bonuses and stuff like that.
Yeah, like bonuses or like extra vacation time or something like that. That something that offsets that stuff.
Yeah, I could. I
don't think they're just working just to knock themselves out. You know.
Yeah, because if that's the case, everybody would quit once it's done. They're like, all right, we're done. All right, I'm done too. Peace.
Yeah, exactly. So there's got to be something in there that's. I mean, granted, if it's a smaller studio, they probably can't offer that, and they're just doing it on their own accord. But I mean, at a bigger studio like at the 343 or whatever like that, I'm sure that they're getting something for all that time that they're putting in.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be honest, game developers get paid fucking good money in general.
Oh yeah.
You know, I fucking crunch. I'm sure I crunch way more than any of those guys do, and I don't get compensated for shit. And I'm freelance. No Jason Schreier's coming over to my house and asking me, well, how much do I crunch? How much did it take? How much time did it take to make that fucking comic book? Or how much time did it take to make that animation? Homeboy and Colin, right?
There you go.
I think 343 seriously needs to work on a new IP or something, because they can't really take risks if they keep making these Halo games.
Yeah,
because every little change gets subject to a lot of criticism by the fan base, by people who don't even play the games. So whenever they make something like a hard left turn and do something else, they get criticized. But if they did a brand new IP, they could take all those risks and see what works and see what doesn't work, and implement that into the new Halo games.
I thought that was the whole point of doing all those side pieces like Halo Reach, Halo ODST, because those were
Bungie games. Those were Bungie games.
Bungie.
No, I know, but they still all that stuff is owned by Microsoft. So if those were a hit, it's like, all right, we're gonna go down that ODST route. Let's just keep making those, because that sold well. People seem to like that one. That's what I thought they were for. That there was a testing ground. That's why they didn't have the number, after Halo. They were just ODST or whatever. So why not go down that road? I don't understand why they have to.
Again, these guys were just
old formula.
Yeah, no, they're just there to keep the franchise going. They're not there to innovate, and that's a problem. These guys have not innovated at all. And I'm telling you right now, I think Halo Infinite is going to be a good game, but I don't think it's going to be the big smash that Microsoft expects. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But
okay, you keep saying that. You got to put that shit in perspective, though. Like, Halo is one of the biggest game franchises of all time. People are waiting for they're fucking frothing at the mouth of this shit. I think it's a Valve situation, right? Like, it very well may be a great game. I don't fucking know. But even if it's a great game, it's not a fucking world-ending epoch kind of thing. Like, it's I think it's just one of those, check your expectations. I don't think it's going to be a washed out, boring, soulless game. I think that it hit some hiccups in development, but that could go one of two ways. It could either keep happening or it could be addressed. So sometimes these things, being the tall poppy is helpful. It could come back where they said, okay, fine, take the time you need. People got to put a little bit of love into it, and it comes out pretty good. But I think we could all sit here and say, this isn't going to be the first Halo. It's not going to be Halo 1.
No. Or 3.
Well, the Microsoft fans don't necessarily want change in their Halo. You said it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, while you're sitting there saying, wow, the game might not be great, this game isn't really made for you. It's made for the people who are asking for this very specific thing.
I never said it was not going to be great. I said I don't think it's going to be this big world-ending event type of game,
I mean, how many games are?
No, they're not. But the reason I'm saying this is because Microsoft needs that, and I don't think this game's going to do that for the platform.
I don't feel like it's going to be like what was that last game that they put out, the open world one. I'm blanking on it.
Sea of Thieves.
Oh, not Sea of Thieves. The one with the where you get the superpowers.
Sunset Overdrive.
No, you don't get superpowers in Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
That's the open world game with the shooting and
Crackdown.
Okay, sorry about it. Totally blanking on it. So I think to be honest, it's gonna be a Crackdown situation. I don't think the game is going to be as horrible as Crackdown, but I do think that the game is not going to. It's going to get more attention because of the fact it is that known franchise, but it's going to be in a position where it cannot stand up to the expectations of what it's going to be.
Yeah, well, do you think that's because it's going to be a bad game, or do you think it's because it has gigantic, almost unrealistic expectations? Because I agree with you. I just think it's the latter of those two. Like, everybody's looking for this game to support the Xbox all by its lonesome. I'm like, I don't know any Halo sequel that's going to be good enough for that shit.
I mean, to be honest, I would have said this years ago when Bungie was.
Yo, chill with the breathing, please. Shit, that's a little harsh right there.
When Bungie was actually doing those games, yeah, they could launch that shit and it would just do gangbusters. But at this point in time, like, I don't even think, like, what's going to be out to sort of support Halo. You know what I mean? That's the biggest issue that happened with Sunset Overdrive and Crackdown. There was nothing around it to sort of to essentially share the spotlight. So it's not just one that's just standing in the spotlight. There's a few that's there.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be this one. To be honest, yeah, I don't think it's gonna. It can't live up to the hype.
I agree.
I mean, the God of War was that was a Hail Mary that worked. Like, that was a big change and a big risk. Unless you played Resident Evil 4, so they wanted to take it in a new direction. They did a good job. But keep in mind, this isn't Bungie either. And I know we've already said this, but this isn't Bungie. Like, even if they did a fantastic freaking job, they're not going to do as well as Bungie did.
They're going to do the best of their abilities, but not the best of Bungie's abilities. Yeah, no, it's a good point to make. Because that's something a lot of people don't understand. Like, developers are not all made the same. Some are better than others. Now,
that being said, not to argue against myself, but apparently Returnal is a must-have game for the PS4, so the bar is pretty fucking low.
Yeah, well, yeah.
PS5. So apparently the bar is pretty fucking low, and just about anything that you put out that's playable, people will rave about.
Damn.
Well,
it's fucking true.
You're like, what did a 5-figure say to the face?
Slap. I love it. I love the hate, man. Go ahead.
God of War wasn't a big hit as everyone thinks, because Brian didn't like it. What's it called?
That's not his God of War anymore. I don't love it.
Hashtag
as far as Halo, Brett, I got a bone to pick with you. You said, how can it ever live up to the expectations? And I'll bring up two examples: Halo 2 and Halo 3. The expectations back then was way higher than it is right now. The franchise is diminished. Not as many people are looking forward to the next iteration game as there is now. So the hype is way low. Like, relatively, before there were events, people lining up in the streets to get the game, get the helmet, it was on TV. It was everywhere. Midnight releases and stuff.
It's on Mountain Dew.
It was on Mountain Dew, probably on Doritos too. So I think the issue is that the expectations are low because no one really expects as much as it used to from the franchise. And, and that's naturally, that's what happens when, you go from the studio that makes the original, franchise and they downgrade to the B team to make the franchise. You know this. You hate Attack on Titan now when they went to the B team.
I'm not gonna argue with any of that.
So it's, I don't know how they could possibly, even if the expectations are super low, that team was never made for it. It's
just amazing that they've had the control over this IP this long. I'm still amazed because I know they've
Microsoft should have given it to somebody else, man.
That's what I'm saying. They've thrown so many other teams in it, and it's just never worked out.
By the way, you know how there is little Halo as relatively fan base as there was.
Yeah.
Not people are gonna remember the Cyberpunk issue forever, but no one is gonna remember the Master Chief Collection issue. Like it's like that was worse. I went through both of them. You couldn't fucking get a match in that game. So it's like
for a
That's
long
true,
time.
yeah.
it
didn't
worked for
work.
months.
Yeah.
So
You know who was not going to forget that?
me,
Throwdown. We documented the fuck out of that, man.
I took a fucking
yeah.
week off, man,
Yeah.
just to fucking play that.
Other Zinc was not happy with us, man. Other
Don't
Zinc
worry,
was
you'll
not
take
happy
it
with
off
us.
again when it comes out on Switch. We'll play it on Switch.
You know, Damien wasn't happy about it with us either when we were reporting all that shit back in the day. That's how long this fucking podcast has been on, man. 9 years. This August, crazy, right?
It's funny because we were talking about. When I was talking a little bit about the Nier. We're around long enough to where we could talk about the main protagonist being switched for the release of Nier in the United States. That big muscly guy.
Yeah, shit is crazy. All right, man. Let's move on. Next story. Also about Xbox. So this one kind of interesting. Here's the thing: the headline is not misleading, but people are putting something on there that if they knew the industry, this wouldn't surprise them. But Xbox consoles have never turned a profit, right? So people are taking this to me like, oh, Xbox sucks. That's why nobody's making them. Most consoles actually don't make a profit.
Yeah, Sony has been lucky with the last few generations where they've actually made, with the exception of the 5, but the 4 and the 3 had actually broken even and made a profit. But it took a while for that to happen.
Except for the 4. 4 was 1 year. 1 year afterwards, it was already making a profit.
Yeah,
but the 3
5,
took like a long time.
Yeah, 3 was toward the end.
Yeah. By the way, Nintendo's the one of the exceptions. They do make a profit off the consoles.
They
I
always
believe.
make a profit because they make their consoles with 10-year-old technology.
Right.
Shit's old, cheap.
So this isn't really like a condemnation of Xbox. Like, no, most consoles don't make a profit. It's games that always make the profit.
That's it. It's all about the games. All about
the one disappointing part of a lot of this is because it was them wanting to rush their technology to the board, which the Xbox 360, which did very well for them, but at the same time, how many of those Xboxes did they have to essentially replace?
A lot of them.
Literally bleeding money because they literally rushed their console out.
Carlos bought like 5 Xbox 360s, man. Shit is crazy.
I think we bought a baker's dozen between us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you know what? Let's go down the line. Adam, how many Xbox 360s did you buy?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them.
4.
But the thing is, I've only had one die though, because all the other ones that were zapped, and one didn't. One wasn't zapped yet, but because of the mods. But only one died on me.
Yeah. What about you, Carlos?
I think I only got 2.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah, the original. So I got my day 1 died, but it took years for it to die. It lasted a while, but it did red ring of death though.
Yeah.
But there was a little toaster that could until it couldn't. But but yeah, 2.
Cool. All right, Brett, how many did you go through?
I think Brett is either him or Chris had the most. No,
Yeah, I believe so.
I had my. No, it wasn't me. Definitely wasn't me.
Okay. How many did you go through?
I went through 2.5. Like
2.5.
I got mine. It was broken. I sent it back in. It came out. Yeah. I got mine. I sent it in. I got it repaired. I got it back. It broke down. I bought another Xbox. It died too.
Damn.
So I had it refurbished and then replaced, and then it still died. So I technically went through 2 and a repair.
All right, Chris, how many did you go through?
Well, I fixed my second one twice. My first one died. I had the Halo 3 edition,
which I currently have.
Yes, and that's the one I reflowed twice, and I gave it to Manny, and I think the drive died on it or something.
Yeah, the disc tray doesn't work inside of it. It's a purely digital model now.
Yeah, and then I bought the third one, which was the second to last refresh. But yeah, so I had 3.
Yeah, Brian, you never owned an Xbox 360, did you?
Nope.
No, you never did. Manny, I think you got a hand me down.
I got a hand me down. It's funny. Me and Chris almost switched Xboxes because he has the one that Adam modded for me years ago. So he's got that one. And then
Is that one still working?
I mean, that's the best way. I mean, it was working last time I had it, but I'm sure it's still working, right, Chris?
Yeah, it should be. I tested when I got here, but
you turned it on, and as soon as it starts up, it plays Children of Bodom.
There we go.
Just from the chat here, Dumeka says he had 4 Xbox 360s, and Stage 30, Stage. I'm just gonna call you Stage. He also had 4 of them. So I think I've always said,
was that because they died, or they were just buying because of the new models, whether it's the small version or. I'm just curious to find out if it was because they died.
Yeah, he says the towel trick worked on him, so it seems like it was, and I've always said this. I kind of believe it too. It's like one of the reasons the Xbox 360 sold so well is because people bought them so many times because they kept fucking dying.
Possible, man.
It's possible.
I'm telling you, because it was the Chivos, man. People got that. I need my Chivo. And when that shit died on you, you had to go get another. You weren't gonna start over on a PS3 or anything. They didn't even have trophies.
Yeah, they didn't. So it's like. Yeah,
it was like, if you wanted to keep getting your Chivo count up, and back then everybody, at least that I know that had that, all just battling, trying to get and showing off and taking screenshots and stuff. It's like, I got the. So it was addictive for a while.
That shit is crazy. So in a way, there's like nothing to see here type of story. It's like, no consoles make a profit, bro. All right. And the final story of the night, let's talk about Stadia right now.
I want to throw one in.
Go ahead, Brett. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I thought this was kind of funny. I think, Tony, you saw it. Apparently, the console war is over. There has been a victor has been claimed, and it is Sony. Microsoft actually, I hate to say it, they threw in the towel and praised Naughty Dog for their performance. And I want to know if you guys have heard about this and what your thoughts are.
Companies do this all the time.
I'm aware.
Yeah. Microsoft, whenever Sony comes out with a new game, Microsoft praises them. Whenever Microsoft comes out with a new game, Sony praises them. So it's standard stuff.
Well, I thought it was interesting because it was an internal memo about The Last of Us 2, which is not even a current gen console. So I don't even understand how it fucking affects this. But it was talking about Microsoft's breakdown of Naughty Dog 2 and how they were pushing the bar of, visuals, and how basically nobody can stand up to that, and how they do it by simplifying gameplay and taking choice away from the player and having it so that it's not so much even if the player is having fun as much as if they're delivering a cinematic experience, which I thought screamed The Last of Us 2. And instantly the entire internet caught fire. They're like, yep, see, this is why PlayStation is superior. So
fucking fanboys, man.
I thought it was hilarious how they ignored 90% of it, because it was basically like we've always talked about, how you can, cut down to highly cinematic driven experiences, but that also takes choice away from the player. So you kind of face this conundrum. So I thought it was funny they addressed that, and just everybody on the internet absolutely went fucking bonkers about it. I don't know if it exploded your Twitter, Tony, but it did mine.
No, I never saw that, but it's just like a dumbass fanboys. These companies, here's the thing, fanboys think that the Twitter beef that they engage with each other, executives do. No, they don't. They all hang out with each other. They all go to fucking lunch and shit. They all go golfing. All these guys are friends, right? So that shit does not exist within these guys. Oh, the 360, there it is. Carlos is 360, but so it's all a big to do about nothing. But I will say this though, it is true. Because the companies do give each other praise when games come out, but Microsoft does it more to Sony than Sony does it to Microsoft. That is a fact.
They do.
Well, and I think the thing is, it wasn't necessarily a praise; it was an internal document. So it wasn't even them like.
But it makes sense. So if you talk to these guys behind the scenes, they praise each other. They're like, "Oh man, what are they doing? That shit is crazy. We need to do something like that."
Except for Nintendo.
Except for Nintendo. Except for Nintendo. Go ahead, Brett.
It's absolutely crazy that they would, I don't know, test their competitor's product and note where it does well and not well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like they're not brand loyal. They're just looking at features and trying to put their best foot forward. It's a crazy concept.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Chris, you told me, right, that Nintendo didn't do that. They were the only ones. They refused to touch any of their
Listen,
their-
I got reprimanded in a meeting for mentioning what Xbox Live was doing one time. So yeah,
That's so
they do not
crazy.
do
Yeah.
competitive research.
What does that tell you about Nintendo? You know. All right, moving on. Last story of the night.
What up, Reggie?
We talked about this before. Actually, I mean, we were documenting the whole thing. When it comes to Google Stadia, and I'm glad we do this podcast because it's all documented. As soon as we saw Phil Harrison was involved, like, this shit's done. It's over. So obviously, it's continued to crumble. Now, 6 executives, not just developers, 6 executives have left Stadia and they're joining Jade Raymond's studio. The further deterioration, man, and the thing I continue to love is the Stadia stance. You know, these guys, every time I say anything about Stadia, they're at me. Stadia's the greatest thing ever. Blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, this is a sinking. This is like Titanic, and it's not even a Titanic that just hit the iceberg. This motherfucker's already broken half. You know, Jack is already on the board, bro. Like, he's already fucked. Like, he's in the ocean. You know, that's it. Like Rose, man, she's like, Jack, try to get on this. By the way, why couldn't they both get on that shit? Like,
he tried to get on and it would just slide down.
Or what about the other
like
debris? There was like other debris. But anyway,
there was other, but you know what? He couldn't do it because it was a big whale. Remember the whale?
yeah, the whale.
Well, I think Rose is Jade Raymond. She already moved on.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Heart went on.
She just pried his cold, dead fingers off the board,
That's
man. No sadness, no regret.
She only knew him for a few days. She'll
Yeah,
forget.
that's it, man. Go back to Billy Zane, you know.
There you go. Please, man.
But yeah, that Stadia is done, son. That's it. This is what I think is going to happen. I think Stadia or Google, in this case, they're going to just sell the technology off to somebody else and just call it a day. There's nothing, no reason to own this shit. You know, it's absolutely terrible. You know,
Especially we're in an environment where there's so many people there's so many other entities that do it a lot better than they do.
yeah. I remember I did an article for Laptop Mag listing the best game streaming services, and all these Stadia guys came at me. Why didn't you list Stadia? I'm like, because it's the best game streaming services, you dumbasses. You know?
How dare you?
I didn't say the dumbasses part, but I was like, because I'm listing the best. And they're like, what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say it sucks, bruh. That's what I'm trying to say.
Just because you bought it makes it fucking good? No, you can buy a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The collector's
okay.
item now.
What's a collector's item though on the state of the controller?
Just
Because
That's about it.
It is. Yeah, the controller.
That's
It
It's
will
not like
be.
you get anything else special with it.
The fucking Stadia controller is going to become like the Ouya, you know?
Oh,
I
shit.
still got my Ouya. I love that. Don't work, but I like the way it looks.
It don't work.
Hey.
Yeah, the network. They shut the network down, so it's just like.
Oh man.
It's a nice brick.
Womp,
Yeah,
womp.
it was fun. It's like we turned it on, they would go, ooh, yum. That was it.
Crazy.
Wasn't that a Kickstarter thing? That was like a Kickstarter thing,
it
wasn't
was
it?
a Kickstarter thing, but and I hated the controller, so I used my PS3 controller on it. No, not the 4. It was the PS3 because you had to plug it in still. So I remember having
Trash.
the white one. Yeah.
All right. That's pretty much it, people. So do we need to plug anything? Man, you got anything?
The usual things. Excellence is still out there. Still working on stuff, and we got the Kickstarter. Which, if you did it, thank you very much. That's coming up soon. We're going to be going to print really, really soon on that one. So there you go, free update for you guys. And then there's a bunch of DC stuff that's going to be coming soon. So stay tuned for that.
Good stuff. Adam, what you got?
Tomorrow we got another episode of I Am Negan, and it's myself and Richard Bailey Jr.
Oh, yes.
And we're gonna be season 6, episode 12. So it's steaming along, and it's good. It's really fun. It's fun to watch. I enjoy this show. This is one of the few spin-offs that there's some spin-offs are just garbage, but so go check that out. I Am Negan on Spotify, over at the Coalition or YouTube.
Good stuff. All right, that's going to do it for us, people. So make sure you follow us on Twitch and Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and join our Discord. You can find us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show, and you can visit throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. If you're watching us on YouTube now and you enjoyed this episode, please hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Links to everything down below in the description. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
At least we're getting Tony Hawk on the Switch next month. Yeah.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
It's always funny when people realize that a shitty person is a shitty person. After they've been told that said person is a shitty person.
You know, you can talk bad about me all you want, but just don't do it on air. I mean, I know we talked about this shit before this show. And no, he brings it up.
All right, people. We'll see you on Sunday. Peace out.
You were something else, Brian.
Oh, God.